wood is 4-inch oak, cut in the 17th century. The red glass in this window is almost 1,000 years old. The beams are massive, with roughly hewn cuts and centuries-old cracks. These stairs lead nowhere now, but 500 years ago they may have served as an escape route for fleeing French lords. If it looks like something out of a French chateau, that's because it is. But this isn't a French chateau. In fact, it's not even France. It's Canada, Canadian Forces Base Moose Jaw. This is where fledgling pilots earn their wings. They live here, they work here. And of course, they relax here, and they have what every pilot needs, a real French chateau. Well, kinda. The Chateau Room, as it's called, is part of the officers' mess. It's the pride and joy of the base. How it got from France to Moose Jaw is a study in Canadian pluck. After World War II, the RCAF had a base in Marville, France.
Cheers.
Captain Charlie Paul was stationed there in the late 1960s.
The station commander, Group Captain Plucky Williams at the time, wanted part of the officers' mess to look like a medieval inn. And he sent a couple of his officers out to scour the countryside to see what they could come up with. And they found an old castle that was in ruins. It had been a historical site.
An enterprising flight lieutenant cut a deal with the locals. For $250, he could cart off everything he could load in a truck. What they built was this, probably the most luxurious officers' mess in the galaxy. The story should have ended there, but in 1967, France withdrew from NATO and told Canada to go home. Had it not been for a little Air Force ingenuity, it would have been the end of the chateau.
When this room was built, Group Captain Williams had some foresight, and when it was completed, he left out one board. Yes, he left out one board because then the room wouldn't be complete. And under the NATO terms at that time, if a user was to leave a base or a facility, he could take with them those things that were not completed.
So they took it, plank by plank. It took about a year, $40,000, and a lot of volunteer work. But by 1970, the new old Chateau Room was back together. Paul says he's glad the room wasn't left to rot, but he wonders how new pilots will feel about it.
I don't think there's another mess in Canada or anywhere else that's got this sort of a thing.
In Canada, our history doesn't go back, unfortunately, far enough to really have places like this, for example, which is hundreds of years old. You'd have to go as far east as Halifax to come even close. But even that doesn't even begin to touch on the amount of history that is displayed right here.
Given the Chateau Room's rich history, its atmosphere and ambience, it's fairly easy to imagine yourself back in 17th century France. And with a little bit of imagination, you could even catch a feel for the spirits that still inhabit the place.